Yo, family and friends, welcome to the Choppin' It Up podcast featuring your boy, Jordan.
What up, it's your boy, Eric.
And we're back at it with episode 5, man.
Numero 5.
How you doing, Eric? You good?
I'm good, bro. How
hey,
are
man,
you?
I gotta admit, bro, that cut, that fresh cut,
man,
it's like the hair is flowing, the scalp is showing.
Oh, man, I appreciate
You
that,
know what
bro.
I'm saying?
Man,
Like the cool air, you know, it went from 70 degrees to 30
bro,
today.
let me tell you something. Getting a haircut helps so much with this heat.
Yeah.
Like, high key.
But that confidence, though.
Oh, man.
You probably walked up the shop like, what's up?
I did, bro. You feel, and I think any guy can relate after getting a cut. You just feel a little bit.
Bro, it's the
you
best.
Know, like
it's
what's
the best
up?
confidence builder ever, man. So let's get into these topics, man. We're gonna briefly talk about just the horrible Super Bowl.
It was the most
commercials, game, anything about the Super Bowl was just trash.
It was just boring. It felt like the most dragged on. Like, okay,
touchdown, barely.
Okay, and I was just like,
yeah, literally, it was a sleep fest. It was
the sleeper bowl.
The sleeper bowl for real, bro. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about just performances that went on with the Super Bowl, and then we're gonna talk about 21 Savage and the immigration situation that's going on.
Bro, that is the most. Honestly, it had me shook.
Yeah. It's sad,
I could not believe that without what was happening there,
and it broke during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it was bigger than the Super Bowl.
Yeah, people were talking about that more. So
so let's just talk about the Super Bowl real quick, though.
Man, okay, this game right here, I was so hyped going into it.
This
game right here, it's trash. Yeah, bro.
Yes.
You know, me and my girlfriend, we met at a place called Legacy Hall in Frisco, Texas. If people don't know where that is, and you know, we showed up like maybe 3 hours before the game started, just to get to hold our seats. You know, people were showing up. It's a big venue to where you can watch games and stuff. And so I was hyped, bro. I'm like, bro, the Super Bowl is here. It's a beautiful day outside. It's Sunday. Like, let's get this party started, you know? And so the game starts. But even before that, like, the national anthem was hype. Planes flying over, fireworks, that beautiful stadium, bro. Like the little.
Oh my gosh, it blew me. It blew my mind. Like seeing the freaking screen went all the way around and everything.
Legit.
I was like, wow,
it's legit. Atlanta got it on, bro. And so it's like, you know, I was excited, bro. I'm like, yo, bro, this is gonna be a good game. Hopefully, it's gonna be a high scoring game or whatever. And it was the total opposite of that.
It was like, okay, we got 3 points. You got 3 points.
That's it for a minute.
Halftime.
Yeah.
Like it felt like that. Like there was just pauses. Like it felt like I was like, all right, what's gonna happen? Like, are we what?
Yeah.
What are we watching right now?
No, it got to the point where just like every time each team got the ball, you just knew that each possession was just gonna be like a 3 and out. You know, they can't get the first down or they can't score.
Get an interception.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh.
And there wasn't any big plays that was like amazing. Like, oh my God, that was like a 100-yard touch. Like there was nothing that was just standing out in that game. And it was just weird, bro, because normally in a Super Bowl there's always something crazy going on.
Yeah, or I was expecting like fourth quarter, like in the last minute, you're gonna have like 40 touchdowns or something crazy.
Yeah, something crazy, yeah.
Something out of nowhere, but it was not the case at all.
It just dragged on and dragged on and dragged on. And literally, bro, it got to the point where I'm just on my phone, just looking at fantasy stuff or just online looking at stuff. And I'm like, everybody was just not interested, bro.
No.
And it was like people were getting hyped for a field goal.
Like, I was at this Super Bowl watch party, and everybody stopped honestly caring. Like, people were playing cornhole, which is, if you don't know, it's a game with the sacks and the thing with the there's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we were playing that. We played just games because we didn't care about what was happening because it was boring.
It was bad, man. And so it got to the point where I'm just like, yo, hopefully the halftime performance will be better.
By halftime.
Now here's the thing, I'm not a Maroon 5 fan. That's like maybe a half song that I like from Maroon 5, if that. But honestly, bro, I was just like, well, maybe the Super Bowl is gonna be some tricks up their sleeves, and really, only thing that was a big trick up the sleeve was SpongeBob coming out.
Honestly, that halftime performance was just like everything surrounding it. It was lame. It was boring.
Yep.
It was vanilla. It felt like it was so like, all right, we need to get somebody for the halftime. Nobody else is wanting to do it. Who can we get? Maroon 5, are you available? Okay, we're going to do that.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly
that's
how
it felt. It felt like so forced, and it felt so like we're trying so hard not to do anything controversial.
Yeah.
Let's try to make it as simple as possible. And I think in doing that, you just had a really bland performance.
It was very bland. It wasn't entertaining. Now, if you're a big Maroon 5 fan, I'm not bashing you. They're a great band. They've been putting out hits for years. I'm not a fan of them, but I respect their music. And it's like, unless you're a big Maroon 5 fan, you just don't care.
I did not really care. And I'll just put it out there. I'm not a Maroon 5 fan. I've never have been. I always was not the biggest fan of Adam Levine's voice. So, that's where I stand. So, of course, I was like, ugh, I just want this to get over with.
Like, the only person that I like on the band, have you heard of PJ Morton?
No.
Okay, he plays keys for Maroon 5. Check out his music, bro. He has some of his own original stuff and his own music, and he's really, really talented, bro.
I need to check him out.
PJ Morton, that's what his name, but he's amazing, man. But besides that, bro, it just wasn't a performance that people will talk about for years and years and years, And so going from that to Travis Scott coming out, people were at least excited about that. And then, of course, SpongeBob had the little intro.
Yeah, so it goes from, Maroon 5 doing a little bit, and then, boom, SpongeBob.
Yeah,
and
people were going crazy.
I was hyped, bro. I was the most hyped at that moment. I was like, SpongeBob, this is about to happen. We're about to get this. Yeah. And then, they transition into Travis Scott going sicko mode, and it was not sicko mode.
And it wasn't sick, bro. It wasn't sick, bro. It was trasho mode,
It was sleepo mode.
It was, bro, literally, it was sleepo mode, bro. And it was just like, going from hype of SpongeBob having this little intro for maybe 30 seconds to Travis coming out, his performance just didn't have any energy that it needed.
It was so underwhelming.
Yeah.
And I think it was because it felt so empty. Travis Scott was, trying to be hype. I could see where he was trying to be hype, but it was just like it didn't sound good, and it wasn't carrying the energy through. And it felt empty. It felt boring and bland.
But this though, bro, I wonder if he felt pressure from just the black community about the whole Colin Kaepernick situation.
I feel like he felt that pressure, and I felt like it affected the way he performed too.
I think so, bro.
Because maybe there was some like something in the back of his mind that was like, man, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah. No, and here's the thing about that, man. From my point of view, I appreciate what Kaepernick has been doing. Of course, he's just been getting blackmailed by the league, and so it's frustrating to see him not even in a position to play. And there's trash quarterbacks in the league right now, and so it's like Colin deserves a chance to play, but we all know that the NFL is a business. It's a place of work where one simple mistake, they can lose many ratings, they can lose many sponsors and endorsements or whatever. And of course, Colin's position wasn't what the NFL liked. Now he was supporting more, police brutality more than anything else.
I don't think. See, my thing is, I don't think people were understanding what he was doing.
No, that's the thing. Nobody understood what he was doing. They just didn't like that. He was kneeling, and I can see why people were frustrated about that too. But it's like he was doing it for a specific reason.
Yeah,
and it was just
he was bringing awareness to a situation that still goes on and is it's a very real thing that people aren't aware about.
Yeah.
And so I stand behind Colin Kaepernick and what he's doing and the awareness he was trying to bring. And I feel like a lot of people just saw it as a disrespect whenever he wasn't trying to disrespect the flag or the anthem or any of that. It wasn't about that to begin with. It was about him bringing awareness to something else. Like, people got so caught up in that idea of like, he's disrespecting this country and the soldiers. And I don't understand, because I know plenty of people online who are soldiers have spoken out about like, I'm a soldier and I back Kaepernick on what he's doing.
Yes, there was a guy that played he played with the Seahawks, but he like I think Colin Kaepernick reached out to him because he served in the military for a few years. He went to UT and then went to go play for the Seattle Seahawks. And Colin reached out to him and was like, "Hey man, like, is it okay if I do this and that?" And I forget what I think his name is Nate Boyer, but I might be wrong. And he said, "Man, that's totally fine with me." And he's a veteran, bro. Like, he served in the military, and he knows what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
And so he's like, Colin was sensitive about what he was doing, and he knew that, it might run people the wrong way, it might affect them the wrong way, but he wanted to make sure what he was doing was at least right, and it was. And so, I can see people's point of view about it. I get it, but it's like you gotta understand that he was doing it for a specific reason, a reason of just police brutality and all the situation that's been going on, and people just flipped it. The president flipped it, and they just turned into a rage, bro, a serious rage, and it's still going on to this day, and it's sad, bro.
Yeah,
it's sad.
And I don't know. I get frustrated thinking about how divided people are with this. And, either you're this or you're this. It's like, why do you have to be on a side? Like, can you not support the cause? Like, they're not here to try to be like, this is like the only thing that like the Black Lives Matter movement is not about only Black Lives Matter. It's like Black Lives Matter too. Yeah. Like that's what it is, And, and I don't know. I just feel like people need to look past the surface and really dig in.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. And so it's like you see what Colin was doing and still is doing, and people are saying that he just needs to just play football and shut up and just don't even really bring up politics and stuff in it. I don't really think he's trying to bring up politics. He's just trying to bring an awareness to the game that nobody has ever done in regards to really going above and beyond to make sure that I'm not gonna listen to my owner. I'm not gonna listen to, the commissioner of the NFL. I'm gonna get on a knee and support what I support. And he's taking a big risk and lost millions and millions of dollars, and that's fine with him. But he's doing it for a reason, though.
One thing I never understood is how is the nation's pride so weak that someone kneeling gets them upset?
It's the world we live in, bro. People are sensitive.
How does that make you upset? Someone is kneeling. Yeah. Like what mindset do you live in where that causes you to get upset?
Because isn't kneeling still a sign of respect, like a form of respect?
Yeah, like you're like whenever Tim Tebow was kneeling to pray.
Yeah, people hated that.
People were cool with it.
Yeah. And
some people were upset, and it's just like the homies just like praying. Why are people upset so easily? Why are they offended so easily?
And it's sad, bro. That's the world we live in now, where people are sensitive about things that, if they don't agree with it, they just go off and they go crazy about it. And it's just the world we live in, man. And it's sad, bro. It really is sad. And so I know we kind of got a little bit topic, but I think Travis Scott was affected by that.
It plays this whole thing that we just talked about. If you don't know, it plays a very pivotal point in the NFL currently.
Oh yeah.
And all of last year. Yeah. And that's why we had the halftime Super Bowl performance that we did, because a lot of people were asked to do it and they declined to do it.
Yeah, Rihanna was giving people a hard time just for even watching it. Cardi B, even though she had a commercial, she had a chance to be in it. And we already
declined it.
And we already know that she was gonna bring on a show, And so
it would have been crazy because she's like one of the most popping artists right now.
And isn't the Migos from Atlanta?
Yeah.
They easily could have performed.
Exactly.
And they didn't. And so there's a lot of factors that had put the NFL in a very big hole when it comes to the biggest football game of the year.
Yeah. And so I think that you saw the effect that it had on just the game in general. I mean, this was the lowest rated NFL Super Bowl
10 years
in 10 years,
Yeah.
Like,
and I can see it easily.
And a lot of people were protesting it. Yeah. There were LeBron James didn't watch it. I forgot who else. I think Drake might have been.
Yeah, Drake. A few people.
A lot. I know a lot of people were protesting the game and didn't watch it. And if you did that, respect.
Now look, man, I love football, so it's hard for me to even do that. I support what's going on, but it's like, I can't just take football out of the situation. situation.
Yeah, you know, I I totally support that, and I just, like I said, I understand where people coming from, people why people did what they did, and you know, they didn't really miss out on much.
No, and I think going forward, man, some things will change. I think the NFL, they are so sensitive about any type of a dip in their ratings because they want that hype every year. They want
Yeah,
that.
because usually the Super Bowl is the most like anticipated watch thing
Yeah.
in the year, and it's like, well, that clearly wasn't the case this year.
Yeah.
I think because it was pretty bad.
Yeah, and they've taken a dip on just in the past years just having the ratings being down, and they don't like that. They want to make sure that they're bringing in billions and billions of dollars. They still are, but it's not as much. But the NFL cares about that. It's a business, and they want to make as much money as possible.
Yeah,
And so when the Super Bowl is the lowest one in 10 years, oh man, they're gonna do something about that, bro. They're gonna figure out a way to make sure that they can have the biggest Super Bowl in 10 years or whatever, because they don't want to have a situation to where, I know the game is the game. The game can be boring. It can be fun. It's you can't control players. Well, sometimes the NFL does, but it's to the point where now, man, I think the NFL is very, very nervous about things, and they're going to try to do what they can to change that. And I feel like we're going to see some changes coming soon to what the NFL, they're going to try to be like, you know what, we might just have to just let Colin play, or we want to might just try to figure out something because.
yeah, because I remember hearing that he was still trying to try out for.
Oh yeah, he's been trying
for the NFL, and
yeah, I just don't think it's gonna happen, bro. I just unfortunately, because the NFL, they're just so sensitive about the topics, and they already know Colin's gonna still do what he's gonna do, and the owners, bro, they're billionaires. They don't want their bottom line to be affected, and they're gonna do what they can. And so it's a sad world we live in, bro. People are sensitive about important topics that can easily change and help the world, bro.
Oh yeah, and talking about important topics that can change the world.
Yeah.
21 Savage is facing an immigration case.
This is huge, bro. This was happening during the Super Bowl, dog.
Yeah, and that's when it broke out. You know.
Yeah.
That he got arrested by ICE, and he was targeted because of his immigration status, which to literally, I think almost everybody, it was a surprise that he is born in the UK.
Yeah, it's man. When I heard about this, bro, I thought it was a joke.
I did too. I sincerely thought this was fake,
Yeah.
like news going around or something, or someone just made an article that was. I thought it was The Onion or something like that. That was like 21 Savage is from the UK, and it was like, okay, guys, he's from Atlanta.
Yeah, he's from Atlanta. Yeah, and that's the thing, and it's crazy how the Super Bowl wasn't in Atlanta, and he was in Atlanta, and he got arrested in Atlanta.
It overshadowed the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
because it was literally. So of course I got on Twitter during the Super Bowl for like the end of it because it was boring.
Yeah,
and so I was looking through the timeline, and I sent Jordan a article of like 21 Savage got arrested and he's in the process of being deported, and I was like, deported to where?
Sound like a joke to me.
Yeah, and so I could not believe it, and so of course the internet's so fast with memes that the memes were just coming in like hotcakes or something. I don't know what to put. It was just like boom, 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 boom. Timeline filled with memes.
Now look, I was after just trying to digest what was going on with the whole 21 Savage situation. I ain't gonna lie, bro. There was some memes that I saw that had me weak. Like the one he was the cipher.
Oh yeah, and they put in the man's not hot.
Dog, bro, I had to watch that at least a good 10 times, bro, because it just had me. But it was like, you know what? The memes are not helping. Why am I laughing? Because this is a very huge and serious situation.
Yeah, it's a man's freedom.
Yeah, and I had to put that in perspective. Like, yo, if I was in his position, bro, I would be freaking out because he's, and he's been doing well. Just released an album.
Yeah, and it's funny. People were talking about how this only happened after he started spitting some pretty conscious lyrics.
Man, don't get me started on that one,
bro. Flint, Michigan, and how they don't have clean water. Talking about kids at the border, and I don't know. It's weird how all this started happening after he started to mature and started being a little bit more conscious about what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The memes, man, I just didn't know how to feel. At first, of course, I thought it was funny because I didn't think it was true.
Mm-mm.
And then the more and more that I kept scrolling, and later on that day, there was just more updates, and turns out that it was real. And people, reported, they found his birth certificate, and his lawyers came out and said, yes, he's a UK born artist, and so it really took me back, and I was like, I just don't find the humor in this anymore, because this is real. This is a real situation that he's going through.
And people are going through this to this day still with the immigration issues. And when I realized a lot of things, and I sat down and kind of digested a lot of things about the situation, I'm like, man, bro, 21 Savage, he's a big artist, but many people in this world are going through this at this very moment, at this very second. And he's one of the big names that are going through it. And he's, sitting in a jail cell for 23 hours?
Yeah, he's on lockdown for 23 hours of the day.
Bro.
And he is only allowed a 10-minute conversation.
And did he commit a crime?
Apparently, he was arrested directly because of his immigration status. He was targeted by ICE.
And so it's like he's being in a position to where he's being treated like he had a freaking massacre, or
like he's being treated worse
like he's
than
Ted Bundy or something,
than the people who've actually committed those crimes.
Yeah,
like, let's be honest.
No, he is.
Like,
and I can go many ways about why that is, but I'm not gonna get into that today because I don't want to start no rage. But it's just like it's sad, dude, because it's like, I don't know if he meant to do that. I know he's been trying to get his stuff.
He had an application for his visa in 2017 or something early 2017 or something like that. So it was in the process. Okay. But, he did come to the country when he was 7, I believe they said. And his visa has been expired for like 14 years, which his immigration status was kind of in limbo because I think he fell under like the Dreamer Act or something like that. Wow. I don't know the exact details on that, but apparently, that's why his immigration status was kind of in limbo. Like, he didn't know really what was going on. And so he was trying to do his best in 2017, try to apply for a visa, in which, if you don't know, the process of doing that takes so long. Really? And like, I've seen it firsthand with, being Mexican and having so many relatives who are still in Mexico or are here, and they're trying to, go through the process of trying to, get their visas or even get a work visa or whatever, It's not easy. Not only is it not easy for the people who are rich and have the money, it is way harder for the people that don't. Wow. Because people don't understand this. It's not like you go out to the place and you just like, can I get an application? You fill it out. You have to get lawyers. Mm-hmm. You have to pay all these legal fees. You have to go through all these hoops just so you can apply and so you can try to get legally into the U.S. And it's like, that process doesn't take like a month. It's not like you applied for a credit card. That takes years.
Does it really take that long?
Bro, it takes so long.
It's because there's tons of people that are trying to get, immigrated here. Like, why does it take? Or is the government just
it's just the process. It's the process, bro. It's the process itself that takes so long. And I can firsthand give some stories, which, I won't go into specific details just to protect the identity of my relatives and my family. And, but I had two uncles who were in the U.S., both at separate times, but one of them came to the U.S. illegally, of course, and was arrested. And he actually went to federal prison in, I don't know if it was federal, I'm pretty sure it's federal prison, but he was in prison for a while. And he was, after, not only did he serve his time, but he also was deported immediately after that. And in Mexico, he was actually like part of, I think it was the police department or something like that. He helped with like the passing of like 18-wheelers. There's like this thing where they have to check them and stuff like that. And He was killed by a drunk driver in Mexico. Um, years after, a couple years after he had been, back in Mexico and stuff like that. And it's like, um, if he wouldn't have been deported, I know he would have been alive because he would have been here. Like the situation could have been different.
Yeah.
And same thing with my other uncle who, also same thing, happened. He came here, got deported, and back in Mexico, some things happened, and he was put in a situation where he was killed.
Wow.
And so, like, both of those people, because of how difficult the justice system makes it for people to immigrate, had to go through that, and now they're no longer even here.
Wow. That's sad, bro. I mean, that's terribly sad, man. It's a serious situation. It's a huge situation, and things have got to change, man.
My uncles, they could have still been here, and it's hard to think because it wasn't just that my uncles are gone, is that they had families, bro. They had sons that no longer have a dad. Yeah. And now, you're growing up without a dad, and how do you explain that, the reason that you're not here is because, the country didn't want you.
Man, that's a topic, bro, that's just it hit me hard just hearing, your situation because, we can look at a celebrity like 21 Savage that, has been put in this situation, and we kind of think it's funny, but it's not.
No.
It's not. This is real life stuff. This is real life issues that are happening on the second that we're talking right now, and it's to the point where we got to be very critical and very sensitive about just the situation with immigration, and people are wanting to come here, but they got to go through a lot of things and a lot of situations, and people getting deported back home, and families are leaving, and it's scary, dog. It's scary, bro.
It is, and my thing is, I feel like 21 Savage can look at this, and I think he's already made a statement about this, about how, this is bringing awareness to something else as well, because this is an ongoing thing. Like, 21 Savage is going through it too, but so are thousands of other families. There's literally what's happening is that they're having their parents are being deported, and there's kids being left alone here, and it's like, or there's kids at the, like 21 Savage said, at the border, like being held, and like, how many times have we seen, that a child died in the custody of ICE or whatever, and it's just like, I feel like this is a good wake-up call for people to see, hey, this isn't just a Mexican, Hispanic issue. This is an issue that affects anybody that is an immigrant.
But you know what's frustrating about this, though, is that it for any situation in life or whatever, it always takes a big, situation with a celebrity or somebody of higher power to go through something that can relate to people of lower status or lower power, I guess. And it's like, oh, well, since 21 Savage, and I'm not trying to shoot this down, but I'm saying, like, it's just, how come we can't speak up before big, like R. Kelly, when the whole situation with that went down? People now are like, see, we can't be doing this. Like, why? Like, where were those people at before that happened? Where are these people at before the whole 21 Savage immigration? Like, these things need to be brewing before anything happens.
Like, a lot of people didn't know what ICE was. Like, you didn't know what ICE was, and like, that's something that we grow up scared about.
I didn't know what ICE
was. We know about ICE. We know that they're here to deport us. Yeah. And like, it's something that, my family members, you don't talk about ICE without some type of fear kind of creeping up, and you when they think about that, because it's not a joke, bro. For a lot of people, this is a reality that they have to be scared going to the grocery store. They have to be scared going to school. They have to be scared to go out in public because they're scared they're gonna get deported.
Living your life in fear, man.
It's like living in a cage, bro.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Every single move that you make has to be very thought out, because you don't know what could happen. You can't just walk into a bank and get a bank account. You can't just go to work somewhere because they're going to ask for your immigration status. And like, it literally affects every aspect of your life.
Yeah. No, it's, again, bro, it's sad. And again, just seeing 21 going through this, I mean, he's going through some rough stuff. And it's just to the point where, yeah, things are going to have to be different. Things are going to have to change. Do you think he's going to be able to get out, bro?
I feel like there's so many people helping him. I know Jay-Z just hired a lawyer, which if Jay-Z gets involved,
Yeah, you guys don't go
like something's good, because I mean, Jay-Z is a businessman.
Yeah,
and so I'm sure he's hiring the best lawyers to kind of help with the situation. And you have people who are in Congress, I believe, or I forgot who it was, but someone actually wrote a letter, helping 21 Savage's case, being like, he's changed his life, he's helped the community, and
a lot of people on the side, man.
A lot of people are trying to help him out in any way. And I strongly feel like, this guy has made a life here.
Yeah.
Why is he now being deported? Like, he's been convicted of other things prior, like so I don't know what I think it was drug charges or something like that, or I think he's toured outside of the U.S. So it's like, how is this?
Yeah, why now?
Like,
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's really weird for me, is to see what's so different about right now.
Well, it's the main question is why now? Why has it happened so long?
Yeah, is it being used as an example or something like?
And that's where and again, bro, it's the time of the age, man. Where people in higher power is very sensitive about, aka Trump, is very sensitive about the immigration stuff. 21 Savage is a big artist now. He's been saying some real things in his music, speaking the truth. And when the government hears things that they don't like, sometimes they react in a way to where they're gonna get you.
Yeah, and it really kind of,
it's a weird situation,
puts it where, like, should we be this scared about our government? Like, what is happening? Because of course, as soon as he started talking about all the Flint, Michigan immigration, he said F Trump, like all these things, and out of nowhere something federal comes up.
Yeah, and so huge, bro.
I don't know, man. I see this situation, and every single day since it came out, since the Super Bowl, there's been new developments. New things have been showed, and of course the government's gonna try to make it seem as 21 Savage is this bad dude who was a gangster, and he does all these things and try to shed a bad light on him, when in reality he's been really for his community and about helping people out. I mean, he's done things where he's donated so much money to charity and hosted his own charity events and stuff like that. And so I don't know, it's so weird, and it paints a weird picture about where our government is right now.
It's in a bad place, man. And again, they never highlight the positives of his career. They always highlight the negatives and the things that he's done wrong, and the mistakes that he's done. And it's a world we live in, bro, where it's just getting really bad, man. It's getting really bad, and we already know that his situation is a very sensitive topic. It's a very sensitive topic to others around the world that are going through the same situation, and it's sad, man. And I hope the best for him, that he's able to get. I know he got the biggest lawyers now, so he's taken care of with that. And so it's just like, man, we live in a very sensitive world. I mean, even seeing Demi Lovato getting fired up about those tweets, the more I think about it, it's like, you know what, I don't think she meant to be, that type of person to kind of be like, oh man, 21 Savage, I don't think she meant to do that. I just think that in that moment, with the Super Bowl going on and 21 Savage's situation popping up, she kind of found some type of a laughing moment.
Yeah, she wanted to
people
join in, you know.
Yeah, and I can see it, but it's still it's too sensitive, bro.
Yeah, and so like, for y'all that don't know, Demi Lovato got like fired up, roasted,
She
like
burned.
just burnt to a crisp, and like to the point where she deleted her Twitter.
Wow.
After getting, you know, so many attacks from people online.
And we already know what she's going through.
Yeah, you know, she's a recovering drug addict, and so that's where they were, you know, hitting her, and
It's not cool.
which is not cool.
Not cool.
And so, you know, what she said is that, you know, the most exciting part of the Super Bowl is all these 21 Savage memes, and you know, people were laughing about it on Twitter, and then they saw Demi Lovato say something, and it was like, who?
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah, and so it was like a poop festival on Twitter, you know.
It was bad.
There was a lot of things going around. There was the whole Tommy.
Yo, when I saw what she said, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and she said something about the whole ICE deporting thing.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, she would do that. Like, she would be the type of person to go that route on a very sensitive topic, bro.
Even though she is herself like a 21 Savage fan, quote unquote, because there's video evidence of her like rapping that line from and, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's in my bank account or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that is such a long line. Why is it so long? And so yeah, I was like, why would you? It's clout chasing, bro.
That's all she doing, bro.
And
this generation.
It was so frustrating because seeing her tweet that about how she's got ICE, you know, ready to deport him, and it's like, what? What? Why would you say something like that? And it's insensitive at that point. It's not even a joke. And you know, she got attacked hard by like people were coming at her about, you know, she's a culture vulture, how she's so obsessed with black culture, and how, you know, and I see it, you know, she tries her hardest to clout chase and to say controversial things just for the heck of it.
She don't care, man. She wants her name to be on the spotlight. She wants to be trending on Twitter. She wants to be famous just by making fun of our culture. And she continues to get called out for it, but does she care? No. You know, and so when I saw that line, I was like, yo, you wrong for even going in that situation.
Like, you don't have any, you don't get to say anything about this.
No.
Because of how hateful you came at this.
She's evil, bro.
It wasn't even like a joke. It was like she even hashtag build the wall in their tweet, and it's like,
she's evil, bro.
That just comes from a hateful place. It doesn't come from a place of like, haha, I'm just joking.
Yeah, she's not even trolling. She's trolling, but it's like she's like for real, like she ain't playing.
And so I you know, Nicki Minaj went at her, the game went at her in the game. We cannot say what he said.
We already know what the game said.
He said some things that we would have to bleep out entirely.
Yeah, it was bad.
His statement was controversial, to say the least. But he fired her up. But yeah, so there's so much going on with the 21 Savage thing. There's so many layers to it.
Yeah. And the days going on, man, we'll definitely be finding out what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll definitely update on that situation.
Yeah.
But I think just also like talking more about immigration and stuff like that. I think one of the things that we don't hear about that often is that there's actually other artists out there who have gone through this situation.
Yeah. Wow.
You have like someone who I personally have in my top 10, if not top 5 of rappers is MF Doom.
Wow.
He actually is from the UK as well, and he got deported, and I believe he's no longer allowed in the US or something like that.
Wow.
And so I think right now he's in like South London or something like that. Which is crazy because whenever you think of MF Doom, you think of your New York boom bap rap. You know, he was like one of those voices that you know, if you don't know who MF Doom is, you need to check him out because he is a lyrical genius. He spits bars.
Okay, I gotta check. I have, honestly, you told me about him. I haven't really heard of him, but I mean, just by what you've been telling me, man, I'm gonna definitely give him a shout and check him out because
he's creative.
He sounds like he'd be dope. Yeah.
But
that's sad, bro. But he's not even allowed back in the U.S. at all. Huh?
Something like that.
That is crazy, bro.
But yeah, 21 Savage, definitely gonna have you in our prayers.
Big time, man.
We're definitely gonna, you know, make sure we keep you guys updated with this and make sure that he's doing well.
There's definitely gonna be a lot of details going on with him, man, and we're just hoping for the best and hoping that things work out. So we'll keep 21 Savage in our prayers for sure. So I want to talk about another topic, man, that I've been wanting to talk about for a minute. And honestly, bro, it's just some artists that I've been wanting to kind of bring up that people might not know about.
Yep.
There might be some people that do, but I've been just trying to find new artists. And I want to talk about a couple. His name is Jay Prince. He's a rapper, producer from the UK. It's kind of funny how we talked about the UK, but anyways, I found him on, there's a guy named Joe K from Selection. He created Selection.
Oh, yeah, you told me about Selection. Yeah.
And giving people just a platform to put out their music. He brings out old school stuff that we haven't heard in a long time. And I heard his music, man, and I checked out his EP that he released. And, bro, this dude is nice, bro. Of course, he has that UK voice, but I know I sent you a song, and you found another song that you liked as well.
Yeah, that EP is pretty fire.
Yeah, it's good, bro. And so I just been, like, in the mode, bro, just trying to find, like, new artists because it's so important, man, as music lovers like us, that we continue to kind of feed ourselves with just new music because... I'm the type of person that I kind of get frustrated whenever I get in someone's car and they're listening to the same exact song that they've been listening to since like 2012, and it's like, have you heard about like anything? Bro, I'm trying to be the best past the aux chord person ever, bro.
I love being the past the aux chord person.
Dog, like even the aux, bro, and you're gonna hear some stuff that you can be like, hey, bro, what's that song? I don't know, bro, but you're going to pay me $10 and I'll send it to you. Like, I'm trying to, like, be the best because, again, I want to make sure I continue to feed myself with new music because there's just so much good music out here,
Oh,
man.
yeah, definitely.
So much good music and so much good talent. And we need to give these people an opportunity to put their music out there and continue to support them.
And we just want to put people on to music. My gosh, can I speak English? Put people on to some new music, you know? And I love whenever I found a new song that I love or something, and I'll send it to Jordan or I'll send it to somebody else and be like, hey, yo, check out this song. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. Big time, man.
It's like a good feeling, you know?
It's
that feeling whenever you find a new song or a new artist and you're just like, yes.
Yeah, bro. It's so, and I'm the type of person where I will listen to it over and over again and I'll get tired of it. But it's like, you know what? It's in my library. It's on my list. I got like over 3,000 songs on my iPod. It's fine. Honestly, bro, I'm trying to like take off some music that I just don't like anymore. Like when I say that, it's just like when you download an album and they have like, it's like a 10-track, 12-track album and you only like 2 songs. Like I'm trying to clear some space, bro, and just put those 2 songs in my phone and then delete the other ones. That's just me, you know?
I'm a big fan of albums.
I know, I get it. It's a waste of my space.
You should see, so I have Google Play Music and Apple Music, and my Google Play Music has like 14,000 songs.
Wow. Yeah, that's what's up, though.
It's because I like albums, so whenever an album comes out, I'll add the entire album to my library. And, you know, sometimes I don't listen to the entire thing. There's certain songs that I'll pick and choose, but my favorite thing is an album that you can just play and listen through.
And that's rare these days. That's rare. And that's why I'm
because artists put out singles nowadays, and that's it. You know,
the singles is a big deal. And so that's where I was like, man, I just need to clear out some space because, you know, these artists are putting out singers that are fire, and then they put out the album, and it's like crickets.
Like Drake.
Like this. Yeah, like seriously. It's like, like Drake. So, yeah, his name is Jay Prince. He released an EP called Wonder. Came out this year. A really good artist, man. The dude can rap, he can flow. Really talented, man. So I kind of wanted to put him out there.
I feel like the EP title is pretty like good about describing kind of the feel of
Yeah.
the EP
Yeah.
because it's very spacey, very
Yeah.
chill, very vibey, kind of like it kind of like melts together kind of feeling.
Yeah.
So definitely if you guys like the kind of that chill vibe music, that R&B kind of singy song kind of stuff, definitely check out that EP.
And speaking of R&B, another artist that I've kind of discovered is a guy named Lucky Daye. He's from New Orleans, and he has that R&B classic soul. Kind of reminds me of like Daniel Caesar a little bit.
Okay, yeah,
BJ the Chicago Kid type.
Yeah.
Very soulful R&B. Definitely can kind of do his own style of R&B and soul. But this guy right here, he signed a major deal with RCA Records, and so he's starting to release, EPs now to kind of get his name out there. Because I've noticed that a trend where with new artists, they put out EPs first, then they put out an album because they're trying to get their name out there. They're trying to get some music out there for people.
They're trying to put it in a, kind of, so they're trying to do an album, but they don't have maybe enough songs for an album, so they put something together to, packaged well, that they can market and everything to get their name out there. So I totally see that. I saw it with like Joji did that too. His In Tongues EP was awesome. I love Joji. Shout out to Joji. If you haven't listened to Joji, go listen to him. He
I'm
is
check him out myself.
Very I wouldn't say dark per se, but it's a very like kind of sad, almost vibey feeling. He's very kind of just lulls you into his songs. And a lot of his music videos are very artsy and very different, and so check out Joji. It's a great for like a rainy day or like that moody feeling. That's the best way to put it. His music is very moody.
Wow. Okay. Hey, bro. That's just something else for me to listen to because, like I said, man, I'm just trying to find new artists, new up and coming artists, to put out there. And I got one more, a song that I just sent you not too long ago that we just listened to.
It was so good.
It's a group, actually. I think a group or a guy. I don't know. I got to look at the information. But they're called Choker, and they have a song called Petrol Bliss. And I found this song again by Soul Action. Shout out to Joe K. And, bro, when I heard this song, bro, I was like, in my car, like, yo, like, what's good, dog? Like it has that, I don't know, I can't even explain it, but it reminds me of a song, but I can't think of it. But it's just so smooth and just like a hip hop type vibe, and it actually says they're pop. And I listen to the other music, and it's like, okay, I can see why they're pop.
Yeah.
But this song has more of a hip hop ish kind of just smooth like rap type groove to it. Another artist that people need to check out, man, is Choker. Petrol Bliss. If you just need to find some new artists,
and we'll link all of these songs and artists in the bio or in the link. So check them out in the description. But I have an artist that I wanted to kind of highlight, which is Yellow Days. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Yellow Days. He's kind of a new artist. He's put out a couple singles, and I believe he has an album out, which is he put out an album in 2017 called "Is Everything Okay in Your World?"
Not really.
I feel that. But he's a very different type of art. He's more like he's like a indie style, so that indie rock kind of very chill, but he has a lot of soul in his style of music. And so a couple of things, in an interview, he was asked, what his main influence was in his music, and he said it was Ray Charles, just because of the amount of emotion and grit he's able to portray, in his music, and how it's just very honest. Wow. And so I highly encourage people to listen to Yellow Days. His music is very complex in some senses because he has a lot of guitar work. It's very as complex as it is, it's very smooth and very soulful and very, you just get into it. And his music talks about a lot of things. He talks about politics, depression, anxiety, and it's just good stuff. I personally have been just jamming to his music for since last year, and so I keep going back and back to this artist. That's
Really?
kind of been on a repeat for me this past week. But Yellow Days, check him out, super dope. And let's see, another artist I wanted to highlight here would be, if you guys have never heard of him, I think we might have talked about him once before, THUNDERCAT.
Oh yeah. Oh, shout out to THUNDERCAT.
THUNDERCAT, man,
What I do?
this bass legend.
Yeah, he's a
So
OG.
THUNDERCAT hasn't put out an album in maybe a couple of years, I think. Let me double check that real quick for you here.
It's too long, bro.
It's been since 2017, so
I remember that album. Yeah.
2 years. But what can I say about THUNDERCAT that would actually explain THUNDERCAT? So he is, of course, a bass player, but his music kind of jumps around everywhere. It's like sometimes it could be very chill and just groovy, and you're just like, you're feeling the bass line, you're feeling it. It's just like, okay, you just want to get in.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's kind of weird, and he just
I can't even. It's like a word that I'm trying to find that explains. I don't think there is a word that explains his music, but it's very experimental. He goes in a lot of different ways.
He's very experimental when it comes to
his genre is really like soul and jazzy.
Yeah.
And he has that feel to him, but he's definitely an artist that likes to try different things.
I think a couple of songs, if you wanted to listen to THUNDERCAT and kind of get a feel of who THUNDERCAT is, I would listen to Them Changes. I'd listen to Lava Lamp, I believe the song is called.
I think I have that song.
It's just shows different ways that he
14.
Okay, we'll just start off from there. I forgot what I was saying last.
Changes.
Lava Lamp. Okay, I'll just keep going from Lava Lamp. So,
Yeah.
So Lava Lamp, they're different in a sense because Lava Lamp's more chill.
Yeah.
It feels more emotional, and Them Changes is very like funk, very groovy, very just like he's saying something in that song, and you feel it. But THUNDERCAT, please listen to THUNDERCAT. This dude is just
Amazing.
a genius.
Awesome producer too, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
He was
Pimp the
on-
Butterfly.
He was on Pimp to Pimp a Butterfly.
Like Mac Miller's album, recent album, Rest in Peace. Like he's definitely made some songs that if you listen to him, if you listen to his music first, and then you listen to certain songs on, I don't know what song he was on Pimp a Butterfly, but you will know just by his bass sound and his very experimental type feel, you will know that okay, yeah, that's THUNDERCAT.
Yeah, he was on
He has
These
his
Walls,
sound. Yeah,
which you'll
these walls can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Wesley's Theory, which
okay. Yeah,
both
yeah.
of those songs that were on To Pimp a Butterfly. So definitely check out THUNDERCAT, check out Yellow Days, and what were
Lucky
your
Day and J Prince.
J Prince. And
Prince. So we'll put him down.
yeah, we'll put them in the description. Guys, link to it, and actually just kind of giving you guys something to look forward to. We're actually going to be building playlists for you guys.
Yeah, we'll have a playlist ready to go here soon. With just so much just different music.
Yeah.
A little bit of my style of music, a little bit of Eric's style of music, and really giving our listeners and supporters an opportunity to where if they're trying to find new artists and they're getting kind of to a point where they're just like, I don't know who else I can find. We want to kind of be like those people that kind of help you find some good new music that's out here, because there's so much music out here, man. So many artists, and I can go all day just about just how the culture is expanding in a good way.
Yeah.
And there's just so many artists that I've yet to find, and I'm ready to find them and put them out there so that we can give these people some credit.
Yeah, and so definitely be on the lookout for those playlists. We'll definitely do it where, Jordan will have his playlist and I'll have my playlist.
Yep.
We'll make sure that, we're not putting the same songs on the playlist.
Yeah.
We'll definitely give a different feel. So I feel like personally My playlist might be more indie, more different rock groups and stuff like that. And then Jordan, I'm sure, will have a lot of the R&B,
jazz. I have some hip hop in there too.
Yeah, and so definitely we'll be on. Give you guys two different spectrums of music to listen to, and I'm just excited to give people some new jams.
Bro, I'm excited. Jams, man, new artists, and I'm excited just to be able to just to find something new. You know, I'm not trying to say do this, but I just want you to get to the point where you don't have to depend on the radio to be your music provider.
Curator,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I want you to be able to have a playlist like ours or whatever that you can just listen to.
Expand your palette.
Expand it, because, man, once you hear these music and hear that real sound and real lyrics, you're going to be like, yo, this is what I need instead of that 21. But, I like 21. And
shout out to 21 still.
So that's kind of too soon, but y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying.
So, thanks for listening in, guys. Episode number 5. Chopping it up, man.
Chopping it up. Back at it again next week. Y'all already know next Friday we're going to be back. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Chopping it up.